Live show tonight with Dom C. That's tonight, Sunday night. We are back and we have so much to talk about. Which players will stand out for the New York Jets in 2022? Which ones are going to stand out? Which ones will make us happy and give us pleasure? And which ones will piss us off and not work out? We're going to know before everybody else because we got Dom C to tell us. But we're not going to get to that until we get to the people in the chat that were here. Grandizer, I'm not addicted to Sunday night is my night to go live. Yesterday I was addicted. Jets mess. What's up? It's good to see you. Nick Rousseau in the chat. Good to see you. First ones here. Some of my OG original viewers. We're going to get started. We're going to have a rockin' night. We're going to figure out who's going to have the big impact in 2022. But first, this. I would regret it if people look back at the first episode and you weren't on it.
Yeah, well, I like that. It's called forward thinking.
We have one of the worst beats in the world. We do. Our beat is horrible.
Connor could shove that article up his ass.
And then I went to that game, and I was like, this is the greatest team I've ever seen in my life. I'm a Jet fan. This is going to be the greatest run ever. Yeah.
No, because if they take Aquanu, I'm not complaining.
Joe Douglas is the king of keeping shit close to the vest.
A 2, a 4, and a 6 for Darnold?
Did the Jets really ruin Sam Darnold, or did Sam Darnold just suck all along and we were just trying to talk ourselves into it?
And Hamilton is a player who can potentially make a very big impact.
And suddenly here we are today, you can't get rid of him.
Right, it's like a plague.
Joe Douglas was hired because he's not those general managers.
Okay, Luscious.
Somebody is going to fall just like Elijah Moore did, just like Michael Carter did.
You know, what would, if you had one sentence to say to Joe Douglas, what would you say? So you would say, you had me at hello, and then give him a big old wet one right on the smack.
Okay, and here we are ready to start the show, and Iowan Jets fan comes in, and the first thing he says is he wanted to change it up a little bit. He's getting a little European, a little stylish. Rather than say buttholes, he's saying, "What's up, all of you holes of the butt?" Sounds very like French to me. We got Dark Soldier here in the house, and let's get rolling. Who else are we going to have? Well, I'm going to tell you who we're going to bring in right now into our space. He's the man that's going to have all the answers to our questions. Especially the question we're asking tonight. Who is going to stand out on the 2022 Jets? We added a lot of players. We had a lot of players. Now we have so many I can't keep track. Who is going to stand out? Well, I'll tell you who's going to tell us. The man with the plan, Dom C.
What's up, Jeremy? What's up, chat?
Going on.
Soldier, Iowa, Nick Rousseau, Nathan. Anyone else I missed? What's happening? Happy Sunday.
Nathan is here putting me in the mood for a hot dog.
Yes, sir.
Nathan's. Jets fans united in the house.
Yo, Jeff fan.
All right. The guy's going nuts for me. My biggest advocate, my biggest ally. All over Twitter, telling people to subscribe to this channel and get me to 600, and we're almost there. Jacob Finnegan, what's up, my friend? Sauce, I feel you. Kane, Undertaker's brother, what's going on, my friend? He loves that. Oh, the Hawaiian shirt combo with the beanie. You gotta love it. It's gangsta.
Right. It's cold in my house. It's cold in my house tonight.
Mine's gonna get cold. I'm blowing the air conditioner on me. So.
Yeah, I know. We put ours on too for the first time today. So,
Gitmo.
What's up, Gitmo?
Yeah. And by the way, Grandizer, that's the dream for someday. That is the dream. I wouldn't say 24/7, but it's the dream. The first part is the dream. Swaggy Sauce Gardner. Yeah, you know what? We're gonna end up talking about Sauce Gardner tonight, but our Dom, you have always been a Don Stingley guy So I guess that's a good way to start. I mean, how do you feel? How do you feel about Sauce Gardner?
What's not to like about Sauce Gardner? I mean, he's great pick, great player, great pick for the Jets, so on and so forth. Now, Jeremy kind of made mention to it. Those who have seen me here or anywhere, when I talked about the defensive backs, I did like Derek Stingley. Derek Stingley was my highest rated cornerback in this draft class. The potential's through the roof. Not to say that we made the wrong pick. We made the correct pick, because we didn't have the chance of Derek Stingley,
right.
But he's just a perfect fit. I think Richard Sherman said it best, that he is the perfect fit for this defense. What he brings, the intangibles, the skill sets, what he has is going to mesh so well with Jeff Ulbrich and Robert Saleh this year. I can't wait. I can't wait to see it. He's saying all the right things. He's excited to be a Jet. He doesn't want to talk about the old Jets because the new Jets don't really care about it. All that stuff, and that's what's really getting me in this kind of lull in the football season, of NFL time, I should say. Really hyped is that you're seeing all these guys start to get vocal. Justin Hardy just tweeted out, all this hate about the Jets is going to stop this year. This season, it comes to an end. So mark my words, Sauce Gardner saying, what happened in the past has happened in the past. That ain't what we're here to do now. All these guys saying this. Carl Lawson saying, we got a bunch of animals. We got a bunch of dogs on the line, ready to let them loose. These are the things that if they don't get you excited as a Jets fan, there's nothing that's going to get you excited.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I think the biggest relief almost in a way is that they took Derek Stingley ahead of us. So it takes a lot of pressure off from the perspective of having to worry, what if Stingley's much better? Because the reality is we didn't have the opportunity to take Derek Stingley. So we don't have to obsessively compare Sauce Gardner to Derek Stingley. It's more the other way around. Houston has to do that because they're the ones, right, who made the pick. They're the ones that have to live with that and look. And if Sauce Gardner, if Stingley doesn't stay healthy and Sauce Gardner's a superstar, they're the ones that have to answer to people. And why did we make this pick over that pick? Not us.
Sure. Listen, you couldn't go in both prospects, and that's exactly what they are. And I say that again, both are prospects. They haven't played it down yet in the NFL, but they're both wonderful prospects. I think the Jets got the best fit for their team. He might have not been my favorite one on the board, but that's not saying that I didn't like him or that I think he's bad. I just really thought a lot of what I saw Derek Stingley when he was on the field again. And the big emphasis on that is when he was on the field, they're banking Houston's banking that, that he's put all that injury stuff behind him, and that they're thinking that he can either is already there or they can coach him back up to that ability when he was the best cornerback in college football when he was a freshman. So you can't listen. There's different strokes for different folks, right? Yeah. Every team has a different board and every team has it designed, likes their player. Houston liked Derek Stingley more. I'm glad that Houston took Derek Stingley. He's a good ball player. Hope he has a great career. I just hope Sauce is better.
Much better. Look, there's, I'm hoping the best for Sauce Gardner, obviously, as a Jet fan. I have nothing against Derek Stingley. The only time I would care about him playing poorly is when it's against us.
Right.
Or if it's ever a situation where we need Houston to lose. That's the kind of fan I am. It's what's best for the Jets.
Amen.
So if they're playing New England or Miami, I'm a Stingley fan. If Houston's playing them, I want him to get 3 picks and hand New England or Miami or Buffalo a loss. I mean, it's obvious. No question about that. Again, so the pressure is off of us on it. Anyway, let's start with, I'm going to name a room.
Okay.
Except for quarterback, because I think quarterback is obvious. But we could start with quarterback and just say in the quarterback room, because I'm going to say who's going to stand out in every room. Obviously, barring injury, Zachary Wilson is the guy that's either not going to or going to stand out, or he's going to stand out no matter what. Is it just in a positive or a negative way? What do you think? What's your expectation for Zach Wilson this year, and why?
Zachary Capono Wilson. Expectations are, man. I mean, I'm not going to give you projections on what I think his yardage is going to be and what that's not it. I want to see him. I think last year, as the season went on, post injury, in those last, we hang our hat high on that last 6-7 games that he had, where we saw a big step up. We saw progress from what he was in the beginning of the season to where he was at the end of the season. So my expectation for Zach Wilson is that we now see the next step. I've said it the whole time. I'm not the only person that says it. Everyone in this chat probably thinks the same. I know Jeremy thinks the same. You can listen to 1,400 different, Jets enthusiasts, and they'll probably say the same. Our season really hangs on, the shoulders of number 2. We will go as far as Zach Wilson takes us. Now, our staff and, personnel and, pro personnel department did everything in their power to put the tools besides to make Zach Wilson successful, right? They beefed up the offensive line, give him protection so he's not, he's got more than 1.4 seconds to, see the progression in the receivers and not scramble for his life. They put true weapons on that offense around him. He has another year now in this system. My expectations is that he takes all of that, and kind of runs with it, right? The game's going to slow down. He knows he's going to have a little bit more time. He understands, he has a fuller, a deeper understanding of our offensive system and how it's supposed to work. So my expectations is that I want to see that, he managed the games great at the end of the season. He limited the turnovers. That needs to continue. I want to see him take the step up now and start to be a force, right? He still needs to manage. He still needs to manage his turnovers. He needs to, hit his, he throw with more accuracy. He needs to kind of be that leader, that franchise leader that we've lacked behind center for so long, probably since Vinny T, and and that was short-lived himself. Since Testaverde, I don't think we've had a real, true, honest to God, bucket, a lunch pail in his side quarterback that we can hang our hat on that said, okay, I know I'm going to get something good out of this game here. So that's what I want to see. I want to see Zach really, really take the team on his shoulders, right?
Okay. And the key thing for me that you is slow the game down.
That's right.
Because to me, every quarterback, or pretty much every quarterback that's drafted out of college into the NFL has talent, right? If they were on the field with us, they'd be the best guy we were ever on the field with. They throw lasers right into your chest, just, like a dream. Like, how can these guys not be incredible? How can they not be awesome? To me, it's all about slowing the game down. That's why guys with rocket arms, Jeff George, why wasn't he a superstar? Just couldn't slow the game down.
Yeah.
Right. It also happens to be the hardest thing to measure or judge whether they're going to be able to do it out of college. That's what makes picking a quarterback so difficult, because it's so hard to predict who's going to be able to slow the game down and who's not.
Well, you gotta remember also, like, forget Zach Wilson in the situation he stepped in last year. Just take rookies as a whole. It is a whole different ball game. Yeah, these guys played big time competitive football in their college careers, but maybe they were playing against 2 or 3% of the guys that they faced in college. Will take the step to next level. I mean, this is next level stuff. The way they, forget about the speed that they play with, the ferocity that they play with. the level of, the caliber of players that they're playing against, but now they have a whole different way to treat their body. Now they have to learn a whole different way they treat their body. They have to learn a whole nother, a lot of them come in and have to learn a whole new system. I mean, they're rookies, there's always an adjustment in rookies going from college to the pros. It's very, very rare. The anomalies stick out that somebody comes in year one and, lights the world on fire, especially at the quarterback position. Remember Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning might be one of the best quarterbacks I've seen play, right? What did he do his rookie year? Troy Aikman.
Yeah.
Great quarterback. What did Troy Aikman do his rookie year?
1 in 15.
Josh Allen, we know what he's done. We've seen firsthand what he's done. What did he do his rookie year? There's an adjustment. That's okay. But the good guys, like you said, they put the work in physically, mentally. They lead their teams and they take that, they take that next level. They get a better a better understanding or a more comprehensive understanding of what their team needs. Oh, the Rangers won.
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw the tying goal and I started going to overtime and I said, shit, I'm going to miss it because I'm going to be on. But man, thanks Gitmo for that update. That's awesome. Love it.
True that.
Finally beat Pittsburgh. Finally.
So that's great news. And now it threw me off. I forgot what we were talking about. Yeah. So, that whole, first year stuff is real, Now the good ones, because there's no denying the talent. I don't have to say that. There's no denying the talent that the kid has, but the good ones figure out a way how to elevate their game and elevate those around them. That's what we want to see Zach do, and that's going to come with, a better understanding of what's expected, more, like we said, the game slows down for him, it's, the brain slows down. He's going to still have to work. He's still going to have to, continue working his, mechanics, his footwork and all that stuff. But the good ones figure out what's necessary to elevate those around him. That's what I want to see Zach do this year. And that's what we're going to need to do, and I know there's two schools of thoughts on this, some say, hey, all we need is someone to manage the, just be a game manager and, throw for 180 yards and a touchdown every so often, limit the turnovers. Sure. That might work if we have, a top 5 defense and a top 5 running game, I don't know if that's, for me, that's not enough, if that's what it is this year, that's fine. But, and that'll be progress, but I think I want more, I'm not satisfied with a game manager, I'm not satisfied with another Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, no, not at all. That can't happen. We can't have that. We no way. I just feel that if Zach slows that game down, he's able to, slow it down and do his progressions and get that comfort level that the great quarterbacks have gotten, the ones that have been able to cross that threshold, and get to that level where he can slow that game down. Yeah. When you look at his arm talent, you look at his escapability in the pocket and the elite running when he has to scramble. It's going to be very, very scary and dangerous for other teams when this kid is processing faster and when he has better blocking. Because let's face it, when they started blocking better for him and his pass protection improved, he looked very good. Like, remember when we established that running game and the good blocking against Philly in the first half, and he basically orchestrated 3 straight touchdown drives. Sure. And everything, he was throwing lasers. And that's the quarterback I think he's going to be once we give him reasonable protection, also combined with him just evolving, and learning the game and learning the speed of the game and learning the playbook. And it's exciting. It's exciting. And I agree. I think he's going to take a big step forward. We don't need to talk about numbers. It's just about winning games and doing enough to get them to win, and more than just not in spite of him, but actually be a part of the reason they win because of his smart, good decision making and clutch plays when he needs to make them.
Listen, truth be told, there was times last year, and yes, we were decimated by injuries. We started the most rookies in the NFL, this, that, and the other thing. but there was times last year where he got the ball and the offense got the ball, led by Zach Wilson, and there was little to no confidence that we were going to do anything meaningful with that drive. I want to see, I want that internal thing in me to change and say, hey, these MFers, they better not give us the ball back with any time left, because Zach's going to take it and shove it right down their throat. You know what I mean? I'm not there yet. I think he has the talent to get there. The rest is on him. Everything has to gel. We have to stay healthy, and he's got to take that next level, And then, like you said, that's when team, once that happens a couple, 2-3 times, people start to take notice,
Yeah.
And then they're going to scheme around how do we stop Zach Wilson? Just like, and again, this might be lofty expectation or lofty comparisons. I'm not comparing the players themselves, because I don't want to do that to a second-year Zach Wilson. But, you don't want to see Patrick Mahomes get the ball with, a minute 50 and 2 timeouts from his own 30-yard line. You don't want to see Justin Herbert get the ball, with any, within striking distance. You don't want to see Russell Wilson. I want to see Zach Wilson get to that level, and I think he can. He's progressing there. There's already, as bad of a statistical season as he had last year, we saw progress. That's got to continue.
To me, that's the difference between maybe sneaking into a Super Bowl once and that's it, and having some run of being competitive. If he's not a star, and if he doesn't do that, if he's just good enough, like kind of what happened with Sanchez, right? Like just almost got to a Super Bowl. And the difference is for him to be special on top of that team that's good enough to get a Mark Sanchez to the Super Bowl, but with a better quarterback who can actually sometimes put the game on their shoulder with a minute and a half left and make ridiculous throws and avoid sacks and break, and roll out and extend the play and go off book. I mean, these are the things that give you a chance to win a Super Bowl every year, having a quarterback like that. When you have a quarterback like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, you're thinking every year you have a chance to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Listen, and this offseason has already been very telling, and as a Jet fan and as a Zach Wilson supporter and fan, I lean toward the optimist side of it, but I love seeing him, that bulky Zach Wilson put some, take some attention and build up about 8-10 pounds of muscle. I love to see him traveling all over the country, to get working with his receivers. Like, that brotherhood, that bond, that connection is there. You know what I mean? I think he's a leader. I really think that this kid could be a leader, and these are the things that you want to continue and kind of dovetail off of, because that kind of leadership, will breed a winning attitude. And that's what we need. We need to catch a couple breaks here, and start snowballing that snowball effect into that winning mentality and that never say die attitude. We didn't have that last year.
Yeah. I want to say hello to Tin Star. I didn't get to say hi to you. You joined a little late. Marthea Simon, what's going on? Gitmos, of course, is here. And Friggle D is here. So what's up, Friggle?
And Friggle's gone. Later, guy.
Oh, do you have to go, dude? What's going on? Why do you have to go so soon? I was looking at advanced thing. Oh, Bradigan is here too. What's up, Bradigan? I don't know why I didn't see you on my. Oh, there he is, Chris Bradigan. Yeah, we catch the ball too. He's on the Green Bean Patreon. Also, we get to see him and hang out with him.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So, let's start with the other rooms where, and we're gonna pick one from each room, like someone you're really excited about. And I think let's start with the offensive line. Who are you really excited about this year? And I know it's hard to pick one. We have exciting guys, but who's
there's a lot of good guys. I mean, that whole offensive line is very exciting. All right. And I think the easy choice would be Laken Tomlinson, but to me, that's like not so exciting. He's a Pro Bowler. I mean, it's exciting to have him on the team. I'm not saying that, but I think we know what we're going to get from him. What I'm excited, when we're talking about the offensive line, is I really want to see George Fant continue what he did last year. When we signed George Fant to his contract, 3 years, 30 million, whenever it was, a couple years back, I said, man, we're giving this swing tackle from Seattle big money, $10 million a year, and then it came in his first year and he kind of laid an egg, he wasn't the worst tackle in the league, but he was nothing to write home about, and then watching him really take that next step, and kind of get acclimated and moved over to the left side, which is definitely his his stronger side. I want to see that continue. You know what I mean? Because I think it'll be a very, very big telling point to see, we need him to, maintain at worst, maintain or continue to get better, because we got to make some big decisions. If he stays or takes that next step, then we can say, okay, we can extend you. You're going to be our left tackle or right tackle for the next 3 years. You know what I mean? And yeah, I see a bunch of guys talking about Becton in the chat, but I think that's too easy to talk about. We know he needs to come back. We know he's got to be healthy. We know Tomlinson's going to come in there and be that leader, that dominating force from the inside. We know we want to continue to see AVT grow in the mold of Lake and Tomlinson. You know what I mean? We have Tomlinson old and we have Tomlinson new, and they're both surrounding our, Connor McGovern. But George Fant is he's the linchpin to this whole thing, right?
Yeah.
He's the linchpin. We need to continue to see him maintain that level if we're going to extend him. Because if we're not, then we need to start figuring out, okay, are we moving, where we're going to get our next tackle? Are we going to start scouting them now for next year's draft, so on and so forth? So I'm going to say George Fant. George Fant is the most exciting one for me.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because it's a good point. Like, what you're getting with Lincoln. I believe that the whole Becton thing is an invented thing. I believe we know what we're getting with Becton. Becton's going to be great. And I think AVT is pretty obvious that he's going to continue what he was doing. It's get better. We know his skill. We know what a beast he is. And we saw what he was becoming. I think we know exactly what we're getting with McGovern. The fans had a breakout year. And now we need to see, is he going to now have his the big part of his career? Is he going to, and people are thinking when they get to 30 now, offensive linemen, there was a guy who just retired at 40, right? For the Rams. I mean, offensive linemen, if they stay healthy, we've seen some go years. It depends on how much tread is on their tire.
Yeah. He can continue. If he can continue or to play at a high level for another 3 or 4 years, Yeah. And Joe Douglas isn't going to shell out a contract longer than 3 years. He has yet to do so since he's been in the regime. So, if he continues to be a force for the Jets, I could see him getting another 3-year deal easily, 100%. And they love him. There's you have never seen one negative comment about George Fant, the person, or the locker room presence from anyone in the Jets. Everyone, his peers, his coaches, they all absolutely love him. He's not the guy that's going to get in trouble. He's not the guy driving 120 miles an hour down the road, at 3:00 in the morning. That's not him. He epitomizes professionalism, and that's what the coaching staff always says about him. That's what his peers say about him, Yeah. They call him Unc. They call him the Unc, the old wise uncle on that team. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting what Tin Star is saying here. First of all, Fant really didn't get to prove what he was going to be last year at right tackle because he moved over to the left the first game of the season. I also want to say, I don't think it's just as simple as Becton winning back his left tackle job by being better. I think they're going to do what's better for the team. If they're a better offensive line with Becton at right tackle, because Fant can only play left tackle, they'll do that. They'll say, hey, Becton, we need you to play on the right side, not because you're not the best left tackle on the team, but because we're a better offensive line with you on the right side, because then we get a more effective George Fant. But I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that Fant won't be a very effective right tackle. he had his breakout year in a year where he was playing left tackle. I don't think it was because he was playing left tackle. I think it was because he found a system that really suits him. I think the zone blocking scheme really suits his skill sets, and that he's going to have a very good year either way. Don't forget, he beat out Morgan Moses for the right tackle position.
I listen. If I was a betting man, and all people are healthy and all things are equal, I think our right side of the line next year is Becton and AVT. I think they're going to move. They're going to keep Tomlinson at left guard as opposed to putting him on the right side. And I think Fant starts at left tackle. And to me, they're interchangeable. The upside on Becton is obviously a lot higher, but the risk, the reward is higher, but so is the risk, right?
Yeah, and there's Braden. My favorite part of my reaction video, because it wasn't planned, it was natural reaction. I was watching, and then sometimes I don't even remember what I say, but when I watched that back, when we traded up right before we took Priest Hall, it just flowed out of my mouth. I said, I said, Braden wants Greg Lloyd. I imitated him. Be Greg Lloyd, man. And it was like, I laugh every time I see it because I'm like, I don't even know where that came from. It wasn't planned. It just flowed out of my mouth. The Jets are about to make their second round pick. And they just trade up a few spots. And the thing that came out of my brain was to think, what is Braden saying right now? Which I think is really funny.
Awesome. It was great.
Jennifer Coronigo, Becton playing video games on Twitch.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's cool. That's how he relaxes. I'm cool with that.
No problem with it either.
Yeah. I mean, how many hours a day do you work out? You can't work out 10, 12 hours a day. You'll kill yourself. Right. So, I mean, they have a schedule. Like, let's say he works out 3 hours in the morning and 3 hours in the afternoon. He's on his special diet. Maybe he does a little cardio at night. They still have a life, right? There's still other hours. He's a kid. Bless you. My wife is playing video games right now, probably. We spend an hour and a half today playing video games. Hey, man, to each his own. All that matters is he's not missing practice. He's not late for practice because he was playing video games. But everybody's got to relax a little bit. I wouldn't want anybody attacking me and saying that assistant principal Jeremy Cravat is online all the time on YouTube.
I'm sure they do.
This is how we relax. People need to be able to relax. But I think we have to we're going to see, so that's the point. The season is going to play out. Becton's going to take the field and we're going to see. And all we really care about is that he plays like the rock star he was his rookie year, that he stays healthy, he's on the field, and he plays at that level, and even better because now he's going to grow. He's older, he's wiser, he's going to learn this system, and we're hoping he's going to continue on the path that he was before the injury. Because we were all preparing for a Pro Bowler, so
he's a physically dominant specimen. When he's on, and the reality is that being that big of a man, it comes with a higher injury risk, right? So if he can get through that stuff, and whether you think he's, he weighed 400 pounds like people said, or the beat said that he got up to, or you're watching the videos where you see him a lot slimmer than 400 pounds, whichever side of the fence you fall on, there's no denying that there's a very, very talented young man in that body, right? And he's a dominating force on the field. So now we need to keep him on the field.
Is talking Jets a way to relax? It is for me. I don't know. Maybe it's not relaxation we seek. It's escape. I don't know. I find it fun. That's all I could say. Almost addicting.
Yep.
Okay, so you like who's boss? That's the second time I've heard somebody refer to someone as boss. I was wondering who boss is. So who earned that nickname in the chat? Okay, so here they'll probably tell us. So, okay, so we know offensive line, that's who you're looking for to make an impact. And I think it makes a big impact if Fant is good and steps out and is great. Oh my God, that's amazing for our offensive line, right? Because
Absolutely.
we know who Tomlinson, AVT, and Becton are. You know,
Well,
we
listen,
know who McGovern is.
it's exciting to find out if, because my expectations are that, Becton's going to come through this. We're going to see the revitalization of Becton. So that's not exciting to me. To me, that's expected. I really feel that that's what we're going to get from him, and I know what we're going to get. We're going to get high level play from our guards inside. So to me, the most exciting part is finding out, do we have our true bookend tackle? So can he repeat a career year last year? And if he does, he's probably going to earn himself a 3-year extension.
No, with a lot of money. A lot of money.
Sure.
So I guess let's go backwards and let's go to who are the guys that are playing right next to Zach Wilson or behind him, and those are the running backs. Let's talk about the running back room. I think obviously it's a 2-horse race. And you can make a good argument for either one. Who is the running back you think is going to be the most interesting that can make the biggest impact on the team?
Well, I say this, with the utmost respect to Michael Carter, but it's Breece Hall, and it's to me, it's not even a question. Now, I don't think that doesn't mean that Michael Carter is not going to play a huge role. I don't think that Breece Hall is our guy. I think Breece Hall and Michael Carter are our running backs, and I think they're going to see. I think they're going to see a lot of time. They're both going to see a lot of touches. We know that the rotation, that the running back by committee thing is a real thing. Saleh talks about all the time how important he feels to keep people fresh on the field. You get better production from someone fresh, so they're going to rotate them. But when we're talking about exciting, Breece Hall was the best running back in this class. To me, it was hands down. The things that he does, Michael Carter does. He does things, he can do things a little bit different. That elusiveness, that one cut and go kind of burst that he has, that breakaway speed that Breece Hall possesses, the abilities out of the backfield, running a full route tree, the pass pro, everything that Breece Hall can bring to the table. It's hard not to get excited. Like we have a guy that we can hang our stable on if we wanted to, but we don't have to, because we have a guy that, went above and beyond last year on the roster as well. Like this combination together is really what excites me. But, gun to my head, if you're making me choose one or the other, it's going to be Breece Hall.
And Breece Hall is pretty good blocker, pass protector in college.
Yeah.
Right?
Listen, truth be told, on all his tape, Breece Hall was never asked all that much to stay in and block. But when he does, he gets his nose in there, just like Michael Carter. Michael Carter is not afraid to get his, nose in there and hang up, and hang in there. He gets blown up sometimes, absolutely, but he's not afraid to get his nose in there. So Breece Hall wasn't he wasn't the best in pass pro, and we know that that's going to be a sticking point for all NFL teams. But when we talk about sheer excitement, like let's take the kid, let's take the first running back that was taken in the draft, the best running back in the class. He's now our guy. He's one of our guys in this rotation, in a team that wants to run the ball. What's not to be excited about?
Yeah. I think that it's so many things come out of this for depth, because look what happened when Carter got hurt, right? So
Sure.
Now we have depth. We have two guys we could rely on. I'm comfortable with either one being in there, in any capacity, but to have both, change of pace, different style of runners, both very effective. I mean, it's just makes us a stronger team. And I think that it's going to be something special for Michael Carter, because if Brees Hall is just pounding, 5-6 yards a carry. If he's like, because we have good blocking and he's breaking out some big plays and really putting the defense on their toes and having to put more men in the box and create this kind of, situation and help our offense. Every once in a while, when Carter rotates in, it's like they're trying to adjust to how to stop Brees Hall, and now you get a different kind of runner. Now you get a little ping pong ball that bounces off the first person, and so it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting, and I think that Brees Hall creates that impact. I think Michael Carter on his own isn't as good, or no guy on his own is as good in today's NFL because they adjust to that player. But to have two high skill, high level talents that have slightly different styles to one another, or maybe even a big style difference, I think is a great thing.
Well, they do a lot of things very similar. And the one thing that I caught from watching both of the guys is they have enormous, like wonderful, high level contact balance. And when I'm talking about contact balance, is what are they doing? How do they react? What is their body doing after the initial contact, right? So somebody comes in, you get hit, whether it's a defensive line sticks his arm out there, or somebody that a linebacker comes in and stuffs a hole with a safety. What's happening there? They're able to continue forward momentum. They're able to keep their balance, keep their legs under them. That's what helps them. Sometimes you get hit and you bounce off, and you see some guys can spin like you're playing Tecmo Bowl and take up off the sideline. And then other guys, they get hit and it takes them a couple 2-3 seconds to get their bearings under them, get their feet under them, and kind of start momentum. They don't lose momentum, right? Everything is going forward at all times. They're able to take a hit and not really, have to reset their footwork, or reset their plan of action of what they were doing right then and there. Their contact balance is ridiculous. I think Michael Carter he was, I think, 20th in the league last year in yards after contact and don't quote me. You can check me out, at DC_NY Jets, because I know I posted this not too long ago, but I think it was about 400 to 500 or 400 something yards, or 250 yards after contact balance, or after first contact. Brees Hall in college had over 900 yards, right? Had over 900 yards of 900 yards after first contact. That's crazy.
Crazy.
You're thinking about all these guys coming in flying like kamikaze missiles and hitting you, and then you're still gaining yards after that, right?
No.
So they have that together. They both have wonderful abilities out of the backfield catching the ball, whether it's on the swings, whether it's on the flat routes, whether it's turning it up on the wheels, so on and so forth. They both can be weapons in the passing game. I think Brees Hall is built a little bit better to run inside the tackles, and I think his game will show that. They're both elusive. They're two great running backs, man. Two great running backs.
Jennifer speaks the truth. That what Jennifer's saying is exactly what the problem was last year. We got to stop blaming seasons being lost on injury. The reality is, last year, more than just the fact that we had key players get injured, the problem was no depth. The idea is to build up a team, and we're still doing it. We're not there yet. There's still some places to go to really build up the kind of depth if you want to be able to sustain injuries and still compete for a Super Bowl. Right now, we're just trying to compete to still compete and still have a good year and not have it ruin the year. But down the line, we're going to want to have one of those kind of teams that can lose players like the Rams did and still win the Super Bowl, not have it make the team lose, being able to adapt and adjust with the other players you have. And I think that we took a major step towards that, right? We took a major step towards building some depth on this team so we can actually sustain injuries. We can lose a running back, but still have good running back, a lead running back. We could lose, knock on wood to all this, but, a wide receiver this time could go down and there's still good wide receivers, so the depth is super important. So this way we can, because injuries are going to happen. Mm-hmm. I'm a little worried about the offensive line in that room with depth. because I don't know if Max Mitchell is ready or not, and I don't know, And then we got this guy from Philly who seems like he'd be an okay guy coming in and playing guard if we need him, but we still have to see that if we need him, we need to see that happen.
Yeah. Listen, I don't think Max Mitchell is ready. If push came to shove, that first, if we're dealing with something on a longer term, that first play is going to probably go to Chuma Edoga. Max Mitchell's a pick for 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, if we don't re-sign George Fant, that kind of thing. And an interior line, I think we have enough depth that we can sustain short-term stuff, but realistically, if you lose any starter, for the most part for the season, they're hard to replace. They're a starter for a reason, right?
Yeah.
So, but you're right. Like, depth is huge. Yes, you're going to have injuries, but even more so when you have coaches whose philosophy is to keep fresh people on the field at all times. You know what I mean? They don't want to see, why do we have so many defensive linemen? Because they don't want to see Quentin Williams and all these guys taking 16, 70 snaps per game. They know that their analytics tell them that they're most effective, their power, they're most powerful, they're fastest, whatever their strength is, happens probably in that 30 to 40 rep range. So why not bring in more people who can, provide, high level effort at that 30-40% rep range or 30-40 rep range.
Yep. So now we got our running back. Breece Hall is the guy you're looking forward to. Now is to me, might be the hardest question of all. Wide receiver room. Who's going to make the impact? Or you most? I mean, it doesn't have to be who's going to make the biggest impact, as much as like in numbers, like have the best numbers, but change the room for the team. Like the key thing that's going to be different, whether it's they improve, whether they stay healthy, whether it's they're a new player on the team. But you got my gist. Who's going to change our wide receiver room?
Well,
and make it a different room.
Like I said, I think it's easy to, everyone's the arrow's pointing way up on Elijah Moore. We know what he did. Love to see him stay healthy. I love what he brings to the table. He is in the making to be our wide receiver one. But I think the guy that really, I don't know why people, forget and hate on him. Like, if Corey Davis doesn't get hurt with that core muscle injury last year, he's probably at 1,000, 1,100, yards last year. He's already built the rapport with Zach Wilson. He's going to play a part in this offense, like it or not, in 2 wide receiver sets and in 3. I don't see a lot of when we're in 12 personnel or 21 personnel or anything like that, and we have Corey Davis is going to see the field. Corey Davis right now, hopefully Denzel Mims gets to that point and he takes the next step. But right now, Corey Davis, he's our possession, he's our X receiver. He's our boundary guy.
Yeah.
He's already, he's first round pedigree. He was a first round. He was a number 5 overall pick just 4 or 5 years ago. I know that he dealt with the drops a little bit last year. But that was an anomaly. That's nothing that has kind of plagued him throughout his career in college or in Tennessee. I think that people are sleeping on Corey Davis, and it's probably because everyone's very much vested. They kind of shove their chips into the middle of the table on Elijah Moore and now Garrett Wilson, who are outstanding. They're outstanding receivers. Corey Davis gets slept on and forgotten about. So I'm excited. And that's what we're talking about. I'm not saying that Corey Davis might have the best statistics or be the best wide receiver, but I'm excited to see another year of Zach Wilson and Corey Davis meshing and building that trust. And, they've already built that trust, but building that rapport together. I want to see a full year of healthy Corey Davis now with other weapons on the field.
Yeah.
So that to me is exciting.
Yeah, no, you're right. And Cameron, what's up, Cameron Trammell? Yeah, hey man, I was thinking the same thing. Like I think that Garrett Wilson's going to have some explosive plays, and I think Elijah Moore is he's going to be that big play lots of yards per reception kind of guy. But like, I mean, he'll do some short routes too, but he'll be like, he might do screens or sweeps and things like that. But he'll also I like Elijah for the whole field. He's the guy that can go anywhere and you don't know where he's going to go. Garrett Wilson's going to be the new addition that keeps the defense honest. Like, you're not going to be able to, if we're running the ball well and you want to move everybody into the box, Garrett Wilson's going to get behind you. You're in trouble. Like, you're going to have to think really, really hard about whether you want to move people up and fill the box, because when you have someone with Garrett Wilson's explosiveness, that's going to be a problem. So these guys have roles more than just the catches they're making. It's about the way the defense is going to have to play them and respect them when they're on the field. But Corey Davis is the possession guy. Yeah. He's the guy that if that's not working or they read that and take those guys out of the play, he's that target that Zach Wilson trusts on 3rd and 6. And maybe now we got the tight ends. We'll talk about that later. But for right now, Corey Davis is the guy that he trusts in that role that he looks to first. He's the X receiver. He's the first one in the progression that he's looking to throw to.
Sure. And I do want to say this, like those top 3 receivers, again, hoping that they all stay healthy and we're taking all of that out of the hypothetical. They are interchangeable, right? Corey Davis can line up in the big slot. He's done it plenty of times, I don't know how much Garrett Wilson plays well on the boundary or in that X. He's kind of that move or that Z receiver. And so same thing with Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore can line up all over, Mm-hmm. But this is where LaFleur is going to really have to take his game to a next level. What do the good offensive coordinators in the NFL do? Right? They scheme their guys open, right? They have a tendency to shade the tight end with the safety, and that's going to open up, high-low coverage on the left side. So what are we going to do? Let's move Elijah Moore. Let's put him in motion and get him on the left side. And now they're going to, now the cornerback's going to have to commit. Do you want Corey Davis on the outside or do you want Elijah Moore? Again, a lot of this is going to it's going to reflect on LaFleur scheming these guys open. But these are 3 moving chess pieces. These are 3 moving chess pieces. And they're good. They're good. I'm excited. I'm really excited to see these guys play. I'm really, really excited to see these guys play together.
Absolutely. And to have Zach have enough time to utilize them. And then you still have Berrios. And that's what I love about this is that they're giving and feeding the personnel that's required to run this offense at its best. This is exactly what LaFleur wants. He wants multiple weapons, multiple skill sets, versatility, moving guys around, different looks, keeping the defense off balance. Don't know who's going to line up what out of the huddle. You don't know there's nothing predictable about what they're going to do. Keep LaFleur in the box. We know he's better there, and just let him run with this offense and these players, because I think we're giving him players like in quantity, like that, maybe even more than the Niners gave him, when he was with the Niners, especially when you look at quarterback and the ceiling for Zach Wilson compared to Jimmy G.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Breece Hall and Carter, plus our offensive line, plus our tight ends, plus our receivers, play action set, big play touchdowns. That's the goal, right?
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Absolutely.
I saw another, I don't know where it went in the comments. I'll see if I can find it, Jeremy. If we can highlight this, because I'd like to talk on it real quick. Let me find it. Steel Stone at 10:52.
Steel Stone at 10:52. Where are you, buddy? Let me go. I'll find it.
Yeah. So I'll read it real quick.
Well, I'll be there too in a second, so we can highlight it for you. There we go. I got it. So
until he gets his NFL legs, Jets should run 30 to 40 times, splitting carries between Carter and Hall. Have Zach pass 20 times only. Well, again, in a vacuum, I agree with that. If you told me, listen, we're going to run the ball 35 times, Zach Wilson's barely going to throw the ball. We're going to destroy time of possession. We're going to hold the ball for 40 minutes during a game. And, we're going to win a lot of, we're going to run out the clock on a lot of this. Our defense is stout enough to do that. I'm all for it. If it means a W, absolutely. And again, I hold the belief that, in a sense, maybe not to the extremes of those numbers that Steele talked about, but in essence, I think that's what they want. I think they want to establish a run and have that be offensive weapon, if you will, number one, and work the passing game off of it. Because again, put in the whole load on Zach Wilson's shoulders right now to win games or produce or play to that elite level. He still has to show that he can do that. So how can you help him out? Again, put all these weapons around him. Hand the ball off 30 times. It's worked for Tennessee, right? I mean, it's not the same offense, but the same concept, right?
Yeah.
Let's run Derrick Henry. Let's run Derrick Henry, and Ryan Tannehill, has great, QBRs because he doesn't have to do all that much.
Right. So just have so many options on offense now. What's up, Ephraim? Makes it hard for a defense to figure out a defensive game plan. That's the idea. That's why you don't want to go into a game with. You don't want to just have one or two weapons. You want to have the more weapons you have, the harder you are to stop. Think about like those old 49er teams from the late 80s, early 90s. And like the announcer on Monday Night Football would be just saying it over and over again. So many weapons.
Yeah.
How do you stop them? How do you stop them? And that's what I'm hopefully we're building, but these guys got to pan out and we've got to utilize them correctly. And it keeps coming back to Zach Wilson, no matter how many times you want to, you can't get away from that. That's our question mark. That's what has to happen. But anyway, we got wide receiver now, Corey Davis. And let's move to the final room on offense to talk about, and that is the tight end room.
Listen, as a whole, I think the work that Joe Douglas has done, or the revamping or the rebranding of our tight end room, is light years above any other room or group, positional group that we have. Gone is Tyler Croft. The Dan Browns of the world and all these guys. And we have established people in here. First off, we have a winner in CJ Uzama, a leader. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to set the tone off, on and off the field. You have Tyler Croft, who is Tyler Croft. Did I say Tyler Croft?
Yeah.
Oh God! Don't ever make me. I'm all over the place now.
Conklin.
Tyler Conklin. Don't ever let me say Croft. Tyler Conklin, who is that flex, that movable tight end, who has hands and runs routes like a true wide receiver. You know what I mean? He doesn't drop balls. You know what I mean? He does that, and then you bring in this young kid. You bring in the hometown kid in Jeremy Ruckert. I mean, there's no better story that happened in the 2022 NFL draft than Jeremy Ruckert landed with the Jets. Not only was he a great player, I think that his skill set is one that he's going to be one of these guys that flourishes in the NFL. Was a good college tight end is going to really flourish in the NFL. He was completely underutilized at Ohio State. Obviously, they had so many weapons they didn't need to. The guy's ferocious. He blocks like a beast. As does Uzama. So if I had to say, I hate to pick one of these guys because I just think the total reconstruction of the room as a whole is what is most exciting to me, is that we actually have weapons at the tight end position. Listen, CJ Uzama is not going to, he's not going to be Antonio Gates. He's not going to be Travis Kelce. He's not going to be Mark Andrews. There's going to be a lot of games CJ Uzama, goes, 3 for 18, but he's reliable. He's a leader. He brings that attitude. He brings the winner. And just like we talked about before with Sauce Gardner, he wants to be here. You know what I mean? He believes in Zach Wilson. He believes in what Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh are building here with the Jets. He chose to be here instead of going back to Cincinnati. You know what I mean? And maybe money had something to do with that. I have no idea what they offered him in Cincinnati, if we even listened to an offer. You know, but he wants to be here. So I'm not going to pick one specific guy in this room because I think they're all exciting. I think they're all exciting in their own specific ways. You know.
So you're Phenom, what's going on, my friend?
What's up?
So it sounds like what you're saying is this is
We're
the one
talking
room.
about
It's a totally different room.
It's
so
a completely different room.
That's what's gonna stand out.
The concept of having a tight end is
Right.
the most exciting part of the
Right.
2022 season.
And we have 3 guys, if not 4, that could step in and do it. We don't know what Yabo is going to do this year or what their plan was for him. We know if he makes the squad and he's not on the practice roster, he's probably going to play mostly special teams.
Yeah.
We don't know what their plan for Ruckert is, although I'm sure the feeling must be if Conklin and CJ are doing everything we need and we're winning, what a luxury to have a rookie of any talent or any position be able to develop and go slow and learn from these veterans.
Exactly.
Now,
so here's my take. Here's my take on the room. All right. Again, remember last year, LaFleur came in. He wanted to run a lot of 2 tight end sets. He wanted to run that. That was the goal, right? And he realized, he learned the hard way, or we all learned the hard way, that he didn't have the personnel to do it, which is why they had to flex, just kind of scrap that and go to, a different concept. So we want to have 2 tight ends on the field. I'm not going to say all the time, but a lot of the time, right? So I think we keep 4 tight ends easily, without a doubt, And right now, as our roster's constituted, you got CJ Uzama is your inline tight end, right? You have Tyler Conklin as your move tight end. You have Jeremy Ruckert backing up CJ Uzama on the inline tight end, and you have Kenny Yeboah backing up Conklin on that on that move tight end. Now there's a chance. I like Kenny Yeboah, and he was a Temple guy, and I'm a Temple grad. So I root for the guy, but there's a chance that somebody might get cut after preseason, or there's a chance our 4th tight end isn't on the team right now. But we're going to see a lot more of the tight end there. Corey Davis, we talked about, was the security blanket for Zach Wilson last year. Why? Because who the hell wants to throw to Tyler Kroft?
Yeah.
That's why.
Right. And it's really hard when you think about it now. It seems obvious. It's really hard when your safety valve, when your safest, most trusted guy, to you don't have a dump off guy. It's the X receiver, that's crazy. Yeah. That's the guy that you take the shot. If it's not there, he's not open, and you're going through. And you're under pressure. You're supposed to have a tight end to dump it to. Yeah. And now Breece Hall's going to offer that dimension as well, because he's such a great athlete. He's so talented. He's going to be a super, super threat.
Let me put a scenario on the table for you, Jeremy.
Yeah.
All right. And then I got to plug in my laptop because it's almost dead. My notification just came on. Let me do that now, actually. Hang on. Pause. You talk.
I'm going to hit pause. Well, that's going to only work for so long. But don't leave me. They're all going to find out I'm a fraud. No. A good tight end is a must for Zach Wilson. Tony Romo had Jason Witten. Yeah. It's a quarterback's best friend. That's what they call a tight end, right? That's the new nickname for them, a quarterback's best friend. So now he has 3 to 4 new best friends.
So sorry about that. I had to plug in.
No worries.
Let me give you a scenario. All right. We have 2 tight ends on the field, right? We have Conklin on the field. We have Uzama on the field. We have Breece Hall in the backfield. All right. You have Elijah Moore split out wide. You have Garrett Wilson on the inside in the slot, right? You have CJ Uzama lined up tight. You have you have Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore split outside, all right? Then you have Conklin flexed out on one side. You have CJ Uzama lined up tight on the other side. You take Breece Hall out of that backfield, all right, and you put him in motion. and he goes on the side where Elijah Moore and CJ Uzomah is. What are you doing to that defense? You're doing this. You're winding it apart, right? You have to pay attention to these skilled position athletes that we have on the field. You don't have to pay attention to Jeff Smith or Montgomery or some of these, fill-in hacks that we had last year. You're going to have to pay attention to some of these guys. So what's it going to do? It's going to open up those seams for those tight ends. You know what I mean? We couldn't do that last year. We wanted to, but we couldn't do that last year.
Right. We just simply didn't have the talent.
Yeah. He's awesome. The whole room is awesome. It's probably, like I said, I'm not going to pick one guy because the concept that we actually have tight ends is the most exciting. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the most exciting player. The whole entire room and what it's going to do for our offense is the most exciting part for me.
Okay, that's the one mulligan I'm going to give you because it is a completely new room, and we're waiting. Obviously, that we're going from nothing to three guys that we know and are excited about. But we're going to move over to defense now, and we'll start with the defensive line. There's no easy way to pick one person out of the defensive line, but I'm asking you to do it. Who are you the most excited to see, or who do you think is going to be the one that makes the difference, that really turns it around from last year? Even though we have multiple guys, who's that one special player that's the key to it all to you?
But the key to it all is Carl Lawson, and he, to me, is the most exciting guy. He is, we didn't get to see him last year. You know what I mean? What could have been. So what Carl Lawson brings to our defense is hands down the most important thing this year, right? The leadership. We know what he does with the pressure. I want to see him come back, with a vengeance from that Achilles injury, stay healthy, find out that he didn't lose anything, after missing that year in rehab and so on and so forth. We know, in the clips and in the press, he hasn't, missed many meals. I mean, that guy's one big, carved out of granite from the waist up. I hope his legs are in good shape. And that's what's most exciting, is that we're finally going to get that star defensive player on the field, and you could have gone a million different ways with this. Some might say Q Williams is the most exciting. Some might say Jermaine Johnson, this, that, and the other thing. But, to have Carl Lawson, coming off that edge, healthy, is just going to help the other 10 people on the field on the defense, and it's exciting to me to finally, God willing, hopefully see him this year on the field. You know what I mean? I was devastated, gutted when he got hurt last year. You know, the hopes were so high. He was really, young kid, 26 years old, turning that corner. With 25 going to be 26, turning that corner to go from a very good player. I really, really thought he was going to take the next step. He showed it during training camp. I mean, how many times did you hear, Jeremy, how he manhandled Mekhi Becton in practice, and he couldn't be stopped, so on and so forth. He talks right. He's another leader. We have a team full of these guys now. They have that veteran experience, that leadership that they can impart to the young kids, and they want to. You know what I mean? So to me, without a doubt, no disrespect to anybody else on that defensive line, and I'm a JJ fan, but Carl Lawson's the only answer for me.
Yeah, I agree. The worst thing to happen last year was that injury. It just set the tone for the entire season. It was just such a kick in the stomach. We were so excited about him, and then all of a sudden we're looking desperately for a defensive edge, and we bring in Shaq Lawson. It was like, it was just like that.
I liked the move at the time. It was great. I know it didn't work out great. I wish him all the best in Buffalo. Not really. You know what I mean? So
it's gonna, but and now we turn it around. We get Lawson. We're adding the draft pick JJ, Vin Curry making a comeback. We'll see what he can do. JFM now you have the flexibility to move him to the middle with Q Williams. That's exciting. But you could also move him to the outside. There's so much flexibility there with him. It's exciting now. It's exciting, but it's the same thing. It's like it always feels like it's built around Carl Lawson. He's that leader of the pack. He's the head honcho. And it's not just in skill and ability. It's his leadership on the field. We saw it last year in training camp. like how vocal he was and how he was like everybody was yes sir, and just listening to everything he said. And it'll be interesting to see if he makes the squad and he's not on the practice squad, and if he has the talent, if the talent matches the attitude and the look and the legend. It'd be interesting to see what Michael Clemens can do as well.
Listen, but you just rattled off what 7 names without blinking an eye, right?
Yeah.
Right. You didn't mention Solomon Thomas. You didn't mention Sheldon Rankins.
Yeah.
You didn't mention Bryce Huff.
Yeah, Bryce
right.
Huff.
You didn't mention Jacob Martin.
Yeah.
Think about this, guys.
Yeah.
Look at the depth that we have throughout this defensive line.
With so many guys.
We have the ability to keep them fresh, man. Keep them rolling. Scheme specific sets, right? In a true passing in a true passing situations. What are you going to do when you have Carl Lawson and Jacob Martin coming off the end? With JJ standing on his feet coming off the end, also kind of in a zone blitz scheme or something like that. You pop JFM inside with Quinn and Williams, and they're stunting around the middle, both of them lightning fast, getting after the quarterback. You got pressure coming from the end. You got pressure coming from the inside. What are you going to do? What are you going to do next play? You could sub out 5 guys and do it again.
Yeah.
That's depth.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be special. It's gonna be special. And then this is the name I like to forget, to be honest with you. Not the biggest fan. So the defensive line is obviously very exciting, very deep. But I agree with you. It all is still built around Carl Lawson. We learned last year, you take out the key guy, the main guy.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's just a bunch of okay players, but nobody to really lead it. And I think JJ might step up and be that depth for that. Like that, we're not a one-trick pony with a bunch of okay guys. When you look at JJ and Carl Lawson together, and then you throw in all those good players, that's when it starts to really sound scary.
Man. And then listen, and then when you got to get beefy in the middle. Then when you got to get beefy in the middle, you have you could put a 275-pound Michael Clemens, if he's on the active roster. You could put Nathan Shepard in there. You could put Sheldon Rankins and Solomon Thomas. What are you going to do with those guys?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. There's a lot of attitude there, a lot of toughness. You gotta love it. But it feels like someone on the defensive line is going to either traded or cut. Because
it's definitely going to be cut.
Yeah, we're naming off too many. So
I think there's definitely going to be some cuts,
Mm-hmm.
But I think you wait and see what happens. Are we talking like low level cuts? I find it hard as constituted right now. We see a guy like Bradley and I make the active roster, Zuniga, guys that are young and talented, but I don't see them making the active roster right now.
It's hard.
Jacob Martin's contract, the way it's laid out, he's going to be on the team.
Yeah.
Vinny Curry maybe not. But who knows? It's gonna be very interesting.
A lot of decisions. A lot of depth. A lot of decisions will have to be made. But it's exciting and good for us Jets fans for sure. There's no question about that. We have a lot to look forward to from the defensive line.
Yeah.
Now moving out a little bit, let's have some fun and talk about who are we going to talk about? Let's talk about the cornerback. Let's go to the cornerback room.
Okay.
Let's talk about the cornerback room.
Well, the cornerback room somehow, some way has really become very, very deep for us, But in answer to the true title of the of the live stream is who's the most exciting in each position. It's hard not to say Sauce, right? It's hard not to say Sauce Gardner. Yeah. He comes in with the hype. He comes in with the pedigree. We all know that he didn't let a touchdown up in college. We know that he's 6'3", 210 pounds. We know that he'll smack you in the mouth. a Detroit kid, plays with that physicality that you love. But he's as skilled a defensive back that, you know, one of the best that came out of this draft without a doubt, you know, in his skill set. You know, he's got a nose for the football. You know, he's not afraid to put his head in there and get and tackle, you know, get dirty. Listen, he's not the best tackler, not the best defensive back tackler that we have, you know, or that's in the league, but he's not afraid to get in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And listen, we know what he did in college. He locked down sides of the field. You know, he shut down people. I don't think that's going to be his calling card right now. You know, but that's his ceiling. You know, his ceiling is Jason, you know, Jalen Ramsey, Darrelle Revis. That's his ceiling. You know, without hesitation, I say that. You know, he's not there now, and the scheme's not going to ask him to do that stuff. You know, that's what a lot of people got to remember. Also, is that Darrelle Revis was a strict press man-to-man corner, and maybe the best ever at it, one of the best ever at it. You know, he's the defense looks for a more well-rounded defensive back, somebody that can play off man, somebody that can play in a high third zone, someone that can flip back and forth. You know, someone who can, you know, understands routes as they're coming out. You know, the tendencies of the receiver. Oh, if he shuffles his head, like, you know, if he chops his feet like this, he's always going to break in. You know, someone who's cerebral. This is all Sauce Gardner. You know what I mean? Yeah. And plus, yeah. I just want to see Jets. I just want to see MetLife Stadium just blow up in green when he makes that first big play, breaks on a pass, picks it and takes it up the sideline. You know, Sauce Gardner is you know, he's going to be an enigma. You know, he's going to light MetLife Stadium and all the Jets fan base on fire. You know what I mean?
He might be the most exciting player on the team.
Absolutely.
So, thank you, Edward. I appreciate that. Good to see you. Good to see you drop in. Thanks. I appreciate you coming in, man. Hope you're doing well. There's no doubt that Sauce Gardner is the impact player that you're looking for. Like, there's, like, in my mind, I knew you were going to say that. I think everybody in the chat knew that was coming.
Again, we're talking about most exciting player, right?
Yeah. Well, exciting, impact, like, however you want to say it, who you want to talk about. That's you know, and you know, Sauce Gardner is the most fascinating, interesting piece here. He's the number 4 pick overall. We were you know, Frankie from Flatbush was the first to talk about him, and that's true. I mean, even when people were doing mock drafts and PFN had him at like 28th, he was like the 3rd or 4th cornerback listed. It was like Stingley was ahead of him, Claire Elam was ahead of him, Booth Jr. was ahead of him. He's the 4th cornerback listed. And Frankie was already saying Sauce Gardner. I'm like, who the hell is Sauce Gardner? When I Google Sauce, nothing's coming up. And then I realized, oh, Ahmed Gardner. He's right there. That's what he's talking about, you know, and I learned who he was. And ever since then, it's just been a progression up. And then it just culminated at the combines. When you saw what he did at the combine and said, well, it wasn't the competition. What he did on the field is showing in his athleticism on the combine. This guy is a very special human being. He is a guy who's going to ignite excitement and could possibly change the whole of the defense in the sense of we can go from a team that didn't have an interception for the first 6 games or so to a team that's going to be one of the top teams in creating turnovers. Not just him alone, because you have guys, we'll talk about Whitehead later, I'm sure. But even, you know, Reed, and just the way we're upgrading the room, you know, in its entirety, I think we're fine. And because of the pressure our defensive line can cause now, we are going to cause turnovers now. And I think Sauce Gardner is going to be the catalyst to that.
Absolutely.
I do want to say, but you know what would make MetLife blow up louder than anything else that can happen on that field?
What's that?
Michael Clemens gets a sack, strip, fumble, picks it up, and runs it into the end zone.
MetLife won't cheer too hard because they don't want to hurt Michael Clemens' eardrums, right? They'd be scared. They'd be scared of Michael Clemens. So.
They want to offend him. So they'd clap politely. Good job, sir.
Yeah.
Good job, sir.
Exactly.
Okay, so Sauce was an easy one. Let's go to the safety room.
This is not going to be a chat favorite, but for me, what I think is exciting. Listen, Jordan Whitehead, I love the pick. I think what he brings to the defense, we're missing. Okay. I think that's what he's missing. But I really, and Jeremy knows this, I've talked about him a ton. I really believe in the talent in Ashton Davis. All right. And I want to see Ashton Davis. I want to see Ashton Davis not typecasted as a single high free safety, asked to cover and so on and so forth. I want Ashton Davis, the athlete, to be given the ability to have a little bit more free reign, right? I want to see him up at the line. I want to see him blitzing on those thunders and those lightning blitzes from the corners. You know what I mean? I want to see him on the field in big nickel, which I think we will a lot alongside of LaMarcus Joyner or Jason Pinnock, Jordan Whitehead, so on and so forth. However you want to, rotate them through. But I believe in the skill set that the athlete that Ashton Davis is, and I think he was the closest thing that we had to a defensive back with a true nose for the ball last year. Now unfortunately, it wasn't. He didn't have a nose for tackling angles because that sucked last year. You know what I mean? But he's a guy who's fought injuries since he's came into this league. I want to see him healthy. His tape at Cal was probably some of the best safety tape, and slot corner. He played a little slot corner there too. He was probably some of the best safety tape that I've seen, in quite a few years. So I believe in the guy. I just think that he was kind of, plugged in as a square peg in a round hole. And he wasn't put in a position where his skill sets could really shine. So that's what I'm most excited to see. I'm most excited to see Ashton Davis be used in a way that we can use his athleticism a lot more better.
I think people gave up or have given up on Ashton Davis.
I don't know why.
Way too soon.
Yeah, I don't know why. He's a phenomenal talent. Now, again, maybe the injuries that he's been, that he's racked up in his short career has really played into that a little bit, but as a whole, the Jets fans have completely turned. You know what I mean? They completely turned on him, and I'm not ready to turn on him. I believe in the talent the kid has. I just think that he was being utilized completely differently, completely wrong. I'll say that.
I thought he had to struggle through some injuries. He had a coaching regime change.
Exactly.
Rookie year. A rookie year that had no camp because of COVID. Comes in, finally gets healthy, was getting better every week. Had some, things that needed to be worked on, which would be expected because last year was in some ways almost like a rookie year.
Yeah.
And
he missed a lot of camp last year too.
Yeah. He also did some things right and showed some promise. And there's no reason to think that year 3 he can't take a big step.
Nope. Not at all. Not at all. There's going to be a lot of times where we run big nickel, where we have 3 different linebackers on the field, and Jordan Davis could be that rover. He could be that star. You could have Ashton Davis down in the box and Jordan Whitehead kind of as that rover, that star kind of floating along close to the line. Who's going to be the guy who's going to be the guy that mans up on Lamar Jackson week 1, that spies on him.
Right.
My guess is and chat, please tell me differently. But my guess right now, it's either going to be Ashton Davis or Jordan Whitehead. We're going to spy on him, right?
Absolutely.
No, don't tell me that's not going to be schemed or game planned coming in playing possibly the most athletic quarterback that these guys will ever see play.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even know what that word is. I'm sorry, Jennifer.
A pterodactyl?
Oh, pterodactyl. That's what it said. I thought it said pterodacity.
No.
Pterodactyl. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
For everybody's guessing the first touchdown of the season. Nick said Q Williams is going to cause a fumble. Carl Lawson picks it up and scores. First touchdown at MetLife, Wilson to Rucker. Interesting. I don't know if Rucker's going to get in there in the beginning. So
Yeah.
but
I'll bet against that one. I'll bet the under on that one.
So gotta agree those two are spies. The issue becomes, do we trust Quincy?
No, I don't.
No.
To answer that question, I do not trust Quincy on Andrews. But you know who I do trust on Andrews? Jamie Sherwood.
Yeah.
You know, Hampton Nasaldine. Hopefully, you know, those guys are safeties. Those guys bring coverage skills to the linebacker. They were safeties in college. They bring coverage skills to the linebacking group.
Yeah.
I like that, Nick. Absolutely.
We could spy as a team. Okay.
So, want to just roll right into linebackers?
Yeah, I figured the transition is right there for you.
Transition right there. Absolutely.
Who's the linebacker that you're excited about?
I'm excited to see a healthy Jamin Sherwood come in. You know, he was
sell me on him. Sell me on him because am I crazy to think he wasn't looking very good even when he was healthy? Tell me I'm wrong.
Again, listen, I'll tell you. When he was on there, again, remember we talked about it with Zach. We talked about it with Asher Davis just now. You know, he was a rookie, right? He was a rookie, you know, who was coming into the NFL, learning a new position. You know what I mean? And the game was just moving way too fast. You know, but I'll sell you on him. I'll sell you on him, and this might be a lofty expectation or a lofty comparison. What if I told you he was Fred Warner light? You know, same build, same style. Both of them played. You know, both of them hit like heat-seeking missiles. Both of them have the ability to cover those big slots on the outside. Can you know, get in there, really play that center of the field. I love Jamin Sherwood as a prospect. I think that I think having him next to CJ Mosley, you know, in and out with Q Williams when we have two on the field, you know, if we have 5 defensive backs and 2 linebackers, I think he's a great fit. I want to see what he can do now. You know, he this is really his last year was redshirt year for him. You know, he's got to get healthy. He's got to bring that Achilles, you know, heal up, that Achilles back, you know, going. And I want to see him. He offers physicality. You know, CJ Mosley's as physical a specimen as I've seen at the linebacker in a long time. You know, probably since Marvin Jones. Sherwood's like that. You know, Sherwood can hit you. Sherwood will smack you. Sherwood will smack you in the mouth.
Yeah.
So Sherwood took awful angles while he was in there. Listen, again, we're talking about a guy who's learning how to play linebacker. There's going to be that adjustment going from college to NFL. Then you tie in the fact that, you know, he had to learn a whole new position. You know, I'm sold on the athlete that he is. So that's the guy that I'm most excited.
Are you concerned he's going to lose his speed and agility because of the injury?
I mean, you have to be a little concerned when anyone comes back from an Achilles tear, right?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, just not too long ago, maybe 5-10 years ago, you know, an Achilles tear would have been career enders for a lot of guys, right? There's a lot of guys who haven't come back to that, you know. I think Jet fans, we're all hanging, you know, we're wearing our optimistic hats saying that Cam Akers did it in 6 months, you know. So why can't Carl Lawson? Why can't Jamin Sherwood? I don't know. We don't know if they can. Absolutely, you know. But you know, he's physical. He's, you know, he does a lot of the things. He has that ability to cover the tight end. he has that ability to open up those hips and get depth, which is something that the linebacker in that scheme, the off linebacker, is really going to need. And I just like him. I just like the guy.
Yeah. I know that Salah likes him because he was talking him up. They're already giving that little blue sticker on the helmet, so like they really trust them. And
Listen,
they believe
and they said it Salah said it in the press conference. They didn't draft a linebacker. They like these guys. I like Sherwood. I like Sherwood more so. I think the upside on Sherwood's a lot higher than Quincy Williams. I think their skill sets are completely different.
Yeah. What's going on, old Dave? And 10 Stars says, yeah, because he was saying in that statement, he was close, and he was just beginning to get it when he got hurt.
Yeah,
well, that's positive stuff. I like to hear that because I want to hear positive things, and it's the only explanation really of why there hasn't been a desperate move. No draft picks, no off-season like crazy pursuit of a linebacker, and it's driving some people crazy. But if they really believe in Sherwood, and if they also believe in Nazeldine, maybe they believe Nazeldine's ready to take a step and be a contributor, or at least add depth as well. Maybe they got something. And I think DQ Thomas might be a guy who makes the squad.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You remember this also about this defense is that the linebackers got no help anywhere last year. They were exposed. CJ Mosley played at, he played phenomenally if you look at it, strictly on stats and whatnot, but there was a lot of times that, he was completely just blown out. He got no help up front. We've now invigorated, rejuvenated our defensive line. Those guys up front are going to keep blockers off of our linebackers to allow them to move sideline to sideline, play in space a little bit more. That boosting up the front of the line is only going to help the back of the defense as well.
Yeah. Jennifer thinks that we should keep them at safety, some of them. But I think the whole point of the defense is we're like rewriting the rules. You know what I mean? We're saying, no, it's like we're using their talent in the safety position. We're just using it. It's just a different strategy to use them from the linebacker position because we want to send our four. We want our defensive line to create the pressure, and we want those linebackers to be able to cover and stop that short passing game, right? I mean, it doesn't sound like what the real strategy is here.
Yeah.
We have to figure out how to take away the short passing game.
Listen, I think about the Lakers, and maybe not this year because they were really bad, but like they have that whole like concept of positionless basketball players. They put 5 guys on the field, 5 guys on the court that can play, right? Mm-hmm. Some of these guys are positionless, right? You can have, you can load up with the safety type, quick, fast linebackers and shut down the short passes if Hamza and Sherwood take their step up. You want to get in there and smack somebody in the mouth. You can put some of those bigger guys. I mean, Quincy Williams. I mean, some of the best hits that we had last year. Some of the best that we had came from Quincy Williams just blowing plays up in the backfield, right? I mean, he gets in there as fast as, as lightning quick, like a thunderbolt as anybody, but he's got his, he's susceptible. He's got his deficiencies. So.
Yeah. So Chris is asking you to give your assessment of DQ Thomas. Do you have one? Have you had time to look at his tape?
I do.
Yeah.
Let me see here what I got on DQ. I wrote something up for Green Bean. I'm just trying to see if I find it here. So DQ Thomas, and first off, I'll say this. He is, I knew nothing about DQ Thomas before the draft. I didn't do a lot of work on him or anything like that. They really like him. They spent a lot of money in guarantees on an undrafted free agent, $130,000. It rivals what they spent, on Isaiah Dunn and so on and so forth. 200 plus tackles, in his college career. He moves great laterally, plays great in space. And what I really like about him is that he can also rush. That's one thing that our linebacking core didn't have last year. It's somebody that can actually rush from the inside. You can rush him from the inside, stunt him to the outside, so on and so forth. I think that his skill set and his athleticism is a perfect blend for what Oberkensala want to do. Listen, he's an undrafted free agent. Let's keep it let's keep it real. Let's keep it 100. He's an undrafted free agent. He's not going to come in and see 50, 60 snaps a game. You know what I mean? But he's somebody that could develop. And I easily could see him develop over the next couple years and kind of be that linchpin, that key as CJ Mosley moves on to greener pastures that DQ Thomas comes in and plays. He's a good tackler. Like I said, he plays great in space. He's a good player. He's an athlete.
Yeah. That's good to hear, man. I just, hopefully it translates. I could see him being a guy that, year one, if they don't need him to, a development year, right? If he makes the squad, but could be that guy in 2 years from now who sees a little bit of action and adds depth. And then in year 3, who knows? Yeah. Maybe even starts really playing and getting a lot of playing time if it works out for him.
I would assume, and again, I can't predict the final 53-man roster, but I would assume right now that he's going to make it. I don't think they're going to spend $130,000 in guaranteed money for someone who's not. Similar to Isaiah Dunn, right? Last year,
right? No, 100%. So look, I like it. I like who you're picking in the different rooms, and it is important. Like Jamie Sherwood is a key. They're really putting a lot of faith in him by not going out and grabbing people. And they might bring somebody in. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen between now and, the first, training camp and everything. There's a lot of cap flexibility. There's a lot of guys who are going to get cut. So there's a lot might change. But for right now, for them to wait this long, there's got to be some faith they have in this kid. And they showed it last year. They had a lot of faith in him. So, hopefully he's healthy, and hopefully that didn't sidetrack him and ruin his career, the way it used to. Hopefully today, the way things work, he's able to come back from that ankle and be fine, because I was excited of what was going to happen with him. So Johnny is in the house.
Go Gators.
Go Gators.
That's right. Johnny knows I'm a Gator fan.
Nice.
By marriage, mostly. Truth be told, my wife and my in-laws and everyone, they're all Florida Gators. They're all good Gators. So I've learned to love them.
Yeah. That's fun, because then it's really fun when you watch some of those guys go to the NFL.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I had a good, you get a good early taste on what these guys could be. It's why I loved Kaiir Elam. I think he's going to be great. I think he's going to be a great NFL player. Yeah.
So what do you think? What do you think about Marshall?
Jonathan Marshall? Listen, the jury's still out. I liked, I like him. I like the talent. I don't know how much time, if he's going to be in the rotation, if he's going to be active at all. Just because of, it's a numbers game. When it comes down to it, it's still a numbers game. We're not going to keep 12 defensive lines.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to keep 12 defensive linemen, So there's going to be some guys that are good players that probably don't make the active 53-man roster. That could be Jonathan Marshall. Maybe not, But we have Jonathan Rank. We have Sheldon Rankins for one more year. Got Solomon Thomas signed to a 1-year deal. I don't know what and maybe Jeremy, or you can refresh my memory. I don't know what Nathan Shepard's contract is, but I think it's 1 year. So there's going to be, do I expect Jonathan Marshall to, have a presence this year? Probably not. He's probably not going to be, in the rotation that heavily, but his skill set is NFL caliber for sure.
Right. He's just there as a guy they could bring in for depth if God forbid there's tons of injuries, or he's a guy that they're keeping around, developing and seeing if he keeps getting better to one day fill a spot to move up into the rotation. Right. And I think it's up to the players to see how far up they can go. You can go, you're a depth piece and you stay that way until you're off the team. You're a depth piece who moves up to the rotation, or you're a depth team that moves up to the rotation and then develops into a star. And a key place. But I think the opportunity is there for any player to develop and become a star. Like he has the opportunity. He just has to go out and do it. He has to, not only, the combination of does he have the talent and then does he have the work ethic?
The jury's still out, man. He's a young player, late round draft pick, on a team that's chock full of defensive linemen. So, we'll see. Time's going to tell with Jonathan Marshall.
Yeah. I mean, he's in Vegas. He only has UNLV. They used to be great for basketball. I'll tell you that. When they had that guy that eat the towel.
Tarkanian.
Tarkanian. He used to eat the towel.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. For some reason, they brought back Shepard.
I don't know what Shepard's contract. I know they re-signed him, but I don't know what the terms of the contract. How easily they can get out of it if they choose to cut it, how much money we're talking about. I don't know any of that. So
it threw me off. I think we had him ranked as like bottom 5% in the league.
Who, Shepard?
During last year, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't put too much into PFF, but this is one of the cases where it was hard to argue against PFF because it didn't look too good on the field either, right? I mean, against the run, none of our defensive lines just didn't look good. Let's just leave it at that.
I mean, Swiss cheese is putting it lightly.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. So what did we cover? We got linebacker. We already covered the cornerback. We covered safety. We covered defensive line. I think the only thing left is special teams. What do you think about kickers? Who's going to make the squad? What's your expectation? Do you think that one of these two guys is going to be the guy, or do you think they're going to just be a one-year fill-in until we find the guy?
Well, listen, I think kickers are. I don't think we have the guy. I think we're better than this. I don't know if I truly have an opinion. I think they're going to go into camp and they're going to let him work it out. My money's going to be on Greg Zuerlein. I just think he's done it, at a higher level for longer. They both have their pluses. They both have their minuses. Pinero's more accurate. And you get better chance at long field goals with Zuerlein. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, what's more important for the team? What do they think is going to be? Eventually, the ideal situation would be to get one guy who can do everything.
Sure. I mean, and the good thing is that if it is Pinheiro, we still have Braden Mann who can handle the kickoffs. Yeah.
So Dino says, I've said this before, so I'm not surprised that it would come up. I'm more interested in what Dom thinks because I've spilled it out and said one of the reasons why I'm not as worried about linebackers, I feel that they did it last year, and I think that they might prefer it. That we're going to have a lot of sets where it's more like a 4-2-5, and we're going to have a lot of those guys we're talking about: Bryce Hall, Eccles, Guidry, if he makes the team, Guidry, Carter II. We have some Reed, and there's so much talent. So in that secondary, are we going to utilize that and have just a lot of those guys on the field?
The NFL is a passing game now, and most sets, we know. Traditional base defenses as 4-3 and 3-4, even going back to the Chicago Bears days of the old 46. Base sets are used less and less now in this day and age. And you have 5 defensive backs on the field, whether it be 3 cornerbacks, whether it be that big nickel situation where you bring in a third safety to play over the tight end, or that flexed out big slot. And I think that's where our strength really lies. Our strength and our depth of our team right now, as constituted, is the front 4 and the defensive backs. And I think by improving that front 4 and putting and putting bodies in there that can get after the quarterback and do some of that, as well as the skill in DJ Reed and Michael Carter and Sauce Gardner. You talked about Bryce Hall, ad infinitum in your last video. You have guys out there that can really step up and produce at the next level. So it makes sense that we're going to see more sets with more defensive backs on the field than linebackers. So,
well, thank you, Charles Florio. I'll take that as a compliment. And if you haven't subbed to the channel, please do so. It's the best way you can help me. Best way you can help us and this channel and the people that do all the hard work on it with me. Is the biggest way to support us is to subscribe.
Yeah.
It really does make a big difference for us to have a lot of you out there watching, and we appreciate that you're here. Hopefully you'll continue to like our content.
That's the goal.
Yeah. Hopefully he just has to make extra points. Yeah, well, that's would be the whichever one you're talking about, absolutely. Tom, see you the man. Great takes, buddy. Well, that's why he's here.
Braden, you're the man, Braden, not I.
We love Braden, man. I can't. Was I right, Braden? Were you sitting there when we traded up? And were you like, oh no, Lloyd wasn't available, right? Oh no, it was when we took JJ. At what point was Lloyd even available? He wasn't there when we picked Paul, right?
When did Lloyd go?
I don't think he was there. He may have been because I said it. Because I remember being all excited, and I said, right now, I was saying, and I know it. Braden's in New Zealand saying they're going to take Lloyd, mate. And then I wrote, he really is probably saying that. So I think he was available. So I'm not if that's true. If he was available at 33, I think it was that we traded up to. That's pretty amazing that he was there at 33, 34.
I don't remember where he went. I'm actually looking it up right now.
Yeah, that would be amazing if he was there. That if he slipped that far, because it is, he's amazing. But so many of the linebackers slipped. It was incredible how far they all slipped. Even with the injury, I don't think it was the injury that made Nakobe Dean slip more than just the injury. It was the refusal to follow the doctor's advice on the injury. That's what really scared people off, I think.
Well, it was the flat, his medicals didn't check out, and some people probably just took him square off the board. There's no reason for Nakobe Dean to have lasted into the third round. That's the reason,
Yeah.
You're not going to spend high end capital on a guy that you're not sure if he's going to be able to play, or to what extent he's going to be able to play, I should say.
Yeah,
and Devin Lloyd went pick 27.
Oh.
Right after.
Oh, it was when we
right after Jermaine Johnson.
Yeah, it was when we moved up to take JJ. It may have been Lloyd. There was still some speculation. It could have been that we were trading up to take Lloyd.
You know what? I beg to differ.
I mean, it would have surprised the hell out of me.
When they traded up, there was no doubt in my mind that they were going to get their edge.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it was I was saying JJ. I was like, JJ. Because it was just because it was it clicked in the brain. It went from me being so confused, no edge. How could this be happening? No edge. How could this be happening? The Jets trade up to 26. And then it was all made sense. It all clicked in my brain. Oh my God, we take Jermaine Johnson right now, and then we just got Garrett Wilson, Jermaine Johnson, a combination we all would have been happy with. Throw on some sauce, baby.
That's right. That's right.
Oh my God.
True win, man.
I still can't get over it. What a dream day that was. A dream night draft that was, that first round. It was just the wildest thing. It was like our mock drafts coming true, the crazy scenarios where we were getting so many great players. It was actually happening. We got 3 guys in the first round that we
then Bryce Hall or Breece Hall.
Yeah, and then who I was taking, remember, in the mocks, in a lot of my mocks, I was taking Breece Hall. So, it was getting pretty crazy. And then Ruckert was another guy we were taking in the mocks like crazy. We all love Ruckert. So it was those first 5 picks we were on fire. We were taking all guys that we had taken in our mock drafts that we all loved. It was absolutely wild and out of control for me. It was what a first 2 days.
It was amazing.
Right. And then the guy I never heard of turns out to be one of the guys I'm the most excited about in the offseason, and Michael Clemens.
Polarizing guy, that Michael Giants.
I can't get over it, man. That guy, when he had that I watched that press conference, and I was like, everything changed for me with that draft pick. I said, oh, I would pick a guy like that too. After hearing him talk, I was like, and watching him stare down the press and the media. Cheers, Chris. I totally thought we were taking Lloyd at 26, but then I realized I was dreaming. I totally realized I wanted him to take Lloyd. Boy, did he love Lloyd. We're gonna see if you're right. We're gonna follow Lloyd's career very closely. We should give JD an extension. Yeah, well,
He's got 3 more years. He's got 3 more years still.
Yeah. Yeah, if everything hits, he's not going to want to go anywhere because he's not looking to build a quick win a Super Bowl and get out. He's looking to build a dynasty. He wants, you could tell he's building up a machine, and he wants this to be a long.
Remember, he came from he's a falling off of the Ozzie Newsome tree lineage, if you will, and I mean Baltimore has built a program, built a team. Year after year after year with continuity, that's what JD's, that I think that's JD's just, a chip off of that same old Baltimore block.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's an exciting team. So kicker, we don't know. The punting room is pretty, it's so pretty much that. Here's a question for you. Is Zonovan Knight going to make the team because of his kickoff return ability?
It's a good question. If I had to bet, like as constituted right now, I'd say yes. Zonovan Knight will make the team. I don't know if it's necessarily for his kick returning capabilities, although he's very, very good at it. He offers a lot on special teams as a whole. Not just what he can do returning kicks, but as a gunner, playing all over the special teams. He's a guy who got better year after year in college. You know what I mean? He's a strong runner. We don't have that prototypical short yard back on our team. Breece Hall is a bigger guy, but he's not, he's not that true, physical specimen. Zonovan Knight's closer to that. He's got his, he's got his weaknesses, which is why obviously he didn't get drafted. But I think he has as good of a shot as any of the guys we brought in the UDFA realm to make the team.
Mm-hmm. So. I like the kid. So I'm rooting for him. I'm an NC State fan. It's one of my 2 or 3 teams in college that I really root for and like. So I'm rooting for the kid, and I'm hoping it works out. And I fully expected him to get drafted. I was surprised that he didn't.
Yeah.
But that's what's happened to the running back world. Like, you go back 20 years ago, he would have gotten picked in probably the 3rd round. So
running backs for the most part, they're wash, rinse, and repeat. Yeah. Right? Yeah. He's just going to be a cog. I don't think Zonovan Knight. Listen, it wouldn't surprise me if he does make the team, and God forbid there's injuries or something like that. That you see a game for Zonovan Knight one time that has 15 carries for 80 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But more or less, I mean, as constituted right now, if Zonovan Knight's seeing a sufficient number or big number of carries, we're in trouble. That means Breece Hall and Michael Carter aren't playing for one reason or another.
Yeah, definitely. We're hoping it's just a blend of like 5 to 10% of the carries goes to Coleman, and because they like to have a third guy sometimes for whatever reason. That's what we're hoping. At the most, it's going to be 5 to 10% of the carries not going to our top 2 guys. That would be that scenario. If at the end of the year you told us 8% of the carries didn't go to Michael Carter or Breece Hall, we'd say, okay, that means they probably both played the entire season. So that's good. Can you guys see some man blitz? Cover 2 show, cover 4 looks like this year. I'll leave that to you. You're the better person to address those type of questions.
Yeah. So the Jets, were one of the lowest, blitzing defenses last year, and I think it had to do more with the guys that we had on the field. In an ideal situation in this scheme, can we see some more cover 4 and some more cover 2 off? Absolutely. They played man coverage last year. I know that the solid defense and the 3 deep, scheme that comes from Seattle and then San Francisco. I know that's the base, but they don't run that just as a base. They mix and match. They might play, man, they might play 2 deep with man on one side, so on and so forth. But to answer the first part of the question, we need to produce pressure up front, and I think if you produce pressure up front, that gives you the ability to then, because your offensive scheme or your offensive blocking sets are going to make sure that you're holding back or that fearsome front 4 rush and pressure. That gives you the ability that opens up the ability to blitz a little bit more. Last year we didn't blitz at all. We just couldn't. We weren't producing any pressure. Teams were running all over us, so on and so forth. So listen, could we see some more blitz, some more man blitz? Absolutely. I think having guys on the field like DJ Reed and Michael Carter is going to help that as well. If they choose to, bring 6 rushers. But it's a very, very versatile defense. We have the capability to mix and match, play man when we need to, play off, get back in some zones, so on and so forth. Especially more of that the 3 deep or the cover 4 like we talked about before.
Yeah, one of the things I like is that we're not this just put us in one bucket type of team on either side of the ball. And I think that's why JD loves the versatility. I think that's why they love players who could do different things. So we have that flexibility. So we're able to adjust. If a team is good against something, if an opponent's good against something, we can play to that. And we have the guys who can do it. So we're not, if you don't have the guys that can do it, it's easy to say, oh, well, don't, play them. They're really good against that, the blitz, so don't blitz. But if your team is built around talent that only has the capability of doing well when you blitz, that's a problem. But when you have guys that are versatile, that could do different things, play different positions, you have depth, you can bring in certain guys in certain situations, you're able to have everything be a strength and not be reliant on your strength, even if it's the wrong thing. So if we're playing our strength and our strength simply isn't working, we can give different looks. We can go a different direction and we could still do it effectively at a good level to work.
Yeah. The defense is still predicated about getting pressure from the front 4.
No question.
It's predicated from getting pressure from the front 4. It's not, listen, they might bring a 5th guy, on certain, packages or blitzes or so on and so forth. But ideally is we want to produce enough pressure at the front 4 so we can we can set those 7 back and cover up any zones or holes in the field. If you're getting pressure with if you're getting good pressure with your front 4, they're getting to the quarterback, they're getting sacks. Why do you need the blitz?
Right. That's the whole idea.
The whole idea.
There's really good receivers and quarterbacks in this league. And if you have to blitz, it's like rolling dice. And it's doing the one thing that Saleh hates more than anything else. It's opening yourself up to a big play. And his number one thing on defense that he says all the time is no big plays.
Yep.
That's his key. No big plays. That's his whole philosophy. And you said it. The way to stop no big plays is you get to the quarterback, you apply the pressure with just your 4, then you have 7 guys to make sure no big plays.
Yep.
Simple. But if it's not working, you got to have versatility and you got to have guys that can do other things. You just can't overuse it. You got to be able to blend it and hide it and mix it in, right?
Yep.
And so because I could see Sauce Gardner getting a couple of sacks this year, personally.
Listen, anything's possible, man. Anything's possible.
He's quick. He's fast.
Yeah, sure is.
Back him up with the safety, let the safety fill his spot, and he just darts in there and just gets a quick sack. I would love it. It would be awesome. I do see us keeping 11 for JFM playing a majority inside, but they can kick him out at defense. kick him at DE if certain formations. Yeah, I mean, that's what I see with JFM. I see JFM as I think he's a better weapon on the inside because he's on the inside he's a pass rusher. Like he has the ability to rush and put pressure on the quarterback from the inside, and that means it's like you have these, and then you have your two edges on both sides, so you really have like three quality guys coming at the quarterback.
Sure.
And then you have Q Williams to stop everything else, who's also a good rusher, but he moves the line. He's like he's the guy who does everything. But I just like JFM in that role. I really like him a lot in that role because I think he could also stop the run. He could disrupt in the backfield. Like I love that alignment. Like I love the idea of a third and passing situation in a key moment. And if as long as JJ's playing really well in camp and we believe in him and he's having a good year right away as a rookie, just imagine Carl Lawson and JJ and JFM on the inside and Q Williams. I mean, it's just four quality guys that are able. How do you defend against that?
No, and I don't know, but to the point about keeping 11 defensive linemen, like I don't know if we're going to keep 11 or not. Truth be told, you got to remember it's still always a numbers game. So if we keep 11 defensive linemen, that means we may only keep 8 offensive linemen. Do we only keep 3 safeties? Do we lose Pinnock? Who is we don't know what Pinnock is. He had one good game, right?
Yeah.
So do you cut bait with Denzel Mims? I don't think so, but I mean, if you're going to keep an extra defensive lineman, you're gonna you got to rob from Peter to pay Paul. In other words, so where's it going to be? I'll go through the defensive lineman right now, and again, the roster as it stands today is not going to be there's going to be guys that are added in or out of free agency. But we're talking defensive linemen, right? Obviously, Carl Lawson. Obviously, Quinn Williams, right? JFM, Jermaine Johnson, Jacob Martin. That's 5 right there for sure. Solomon Thomas, Sheldon Rankins. Sheldon Rankins might be on that bubble, because he is due a lot of money. Who am I missing? That's 7. Bryce Huff, I think makes the roster. I think he plays. I think he plays a good part. So that's 8, right? That's 8. Vinny Curry. Now we're getting into the guys that some might say yes, some might say no. Vinny Curry, Michael Clemens. That's 10 right there, right?
Yeah.
Nathan Shepard. That's 11. So, and I don't know if that's the 11. I'm just off the top of my head, but just right there, then alone, the Bradley and I's not making a team.
Right.
Jonathan Marshall, he's not in that top 11. So there's going to be, there's going to be some good players that just don't make the active roster.
I could see them sticking Jonathan Marshall on the practice squad for sure.
They could.
I mean, otherwise he'd have to take. I mean, he's going to have to take like a major step up. He's going to have to dominate in camp. He's going to have to look so good that they just don't give them a choice. Like they're like, we got to protect this guy.
A lot of the decisions that they make, obviously, are going to come down to how healthy are we, how the reps look during camp and in the preseason, and really the bigger thing is how it breaks down financially. Like I said, we talked about Jacob Martin. The way Jacob Martin's contract is constituted, he's going to make the team for sure. He's going to make the team. I don't know what Vinny Curry's contract is, or how it's constructed. I know Sheldon Rankins is owed a lot of money this year, $5.5 million, I believe, $6.5 million. So that could be, he could be a guy that if Jonathan Marshall steps up and they're comfortable with JFM and Solomon Thomas, who aren't true natural, they're not true through and through defensive tackles, interior defensive linemen. They play defensive tackle. They can bounce outside. They have their specific skill sets, but who knows right now? Who knows? On paper right now, I'd probably say that you can say that Jonathan Marshall's on that, that possible not on the roster line. You could probably say Vinny Curry's not on that not possible not on the roster guy. Yeah, listen, maybe it's Michael Clemens. The problem is that we could say, yeah, we'll just put on the practice squad, but once somebody's on the practice squad, they're exposed to the other teams. We can go to any other of the 31 NFL teams can come to our practice squad and take them as long as they put them on the active roster, right? So do you want to expose those guys who might do something like that? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm too much of a homer, but I would think somebody would, soak up Jonathan Marshall or Michael Clemens right off the bat if they were on the practice squad. I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah. Look, I mean, this is a great problem to have when you're thinking, who are we going to cut? Doesn't make and people are going to be bothered no matter who it is. It's a great situation as long as it's not. We have a bunch of average guys that aren't that good, and we have to pick some to cut. But I don't think people would care if that was the case. The difference is this is going to be. It's a good situation where it hurts to do it. Like if they have to cut Marshall, people are going to be bummed because we picked him, as a 6th round pick. I think he had some good games in preseason last year, and everyone thought, we might have something. So it's disappointing. Or I think the only guy that won't, I don't think Anu will Annie or whatever. I don't think he'll get. Nobody's going to care if he's cut. I don't know if many people are going to care that much if Shepard is cut. I mean, we just don't think he will be because we think that Salah loves him.
Yeah. Well, and Shepard has that one skill set that we can't say with certainty anybody else in the interior defensive line has. He's got that true run stuffer stability. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He could be what Foley was.
So how much do we save if we release Rankins? Like $2 million, and it costs us $1 million?
No. I think his contract is 5.5 for the year. I don't know how much of it he's already gotten.
Mm-hmm.
Which would be, considered dead, but I can look it up. That's easy enough.
I don't think they would want to cut Rankins. I mean,
well, look, see, that's another thing. He's another guy. He's a locker room guy.
Yeah.
They nothing but accolades towards that guy. For what he does inside of the room.
Yeah. Tough first Curry. Yeah. Well, if it's Huff versus Curry, you got to give Huff the advantage because he's younger and has more of a ceiling at this point.
Oh yeah. Hang on, I'm pulling it up right now, Jeremy. Sheldon Rankins. Sheldon Rankins' cap number is $6.191 million. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It would be $750,000 worth of dead money, and they could save almost $5.5 million in cap saving if he's cut before June 1st. So if he's designated a post June 1st cut, it doesn't change for him. Same thing. So he has a just say for rounding up, he has a $6.2 million cap hit, which we could save 5.5 of if we cut him. With limited dead money, $750,000.
Right, but we don't. I mean, they're not going to do a money move if they think that hurts the team. I mean, if they and
no, I could see them doing a money.
I mean, he's a decent player.
I could see them doing a money move if they decide to make a move for Ogunjobi, or they find another positional guy, another guy that they really like, that they, still is unsigned that they bring in, or someone gets cut early in camp or something like that, and they figure, because they want to, I don't know where their cap stands at the moment. Let's see if I can tell you that as a whole. So as of today, they got about $13 million worth of cap space. Now they still have rookies to sign out of that $13 million. So if stuff fell, if they still have to make some moves, he could be a guy that, makes sense, Sheldon Rankins, although I'd probably definitely bet the under on that he's not with the team. What is that? Oh, God.
Yeah.
I want to ignore that.
Yeah. It's distracting as hell though sometimes. Wow. So look, the defensive line is definitely the room that we're all going to be looking at in camp when cuts come, right? We can all agree on that. Everyone's eyes is going to be on the DL room. Wide receiver, I think it's set, but we'll see if something, unless somebody totally rocks it, like one of these undrafted free agent guys they bring in. What if they look incredible? But undrafted free agent guys could easily be put on practice squads. But I think we know who our 5 are. I honestly believe if Mims, if they weren't really talking about Mims and they weren't but the fact that they talk about him and they mention him when they talk about wide receivers, sometimes even the first or second guy mentioned when JD talks about him or says something. And the fact that he put on 20 pounds of muscle, he's doing everything to believe he's going to come in and at least make the roster, as a former second round pick, third year, only had one bad year, really.
Yeah.
He would have to come in and really stink. He'd have to come in and not know the playbook or just not play well. It's definitely his job to win. He's not in a situation where he has to find a way to win the job. He just has to not lose it. He has to come in, know the plays, execute, and play to his ability. I mean, the guy is a freak athlete. He just has to play well. And we know he can because he did it his whole life up, and struggled because he was sick last year. He had a lot of issues last year. So I really believe he'll be the number 5. And we know who our 5 receivers are. And then it's just who's going to hang around. Are they going to carry 6? Or are they going to practice squad 6th and 7th? Is it going to be Jeff Smith? Is it going to be, who's it going to be? And it might be one of these guys they picked up as an undrafted free agent. We'll see.
Yeah. We will see.
Yeah. So look at this. So Matthew Smith, what's up? We haven't seen you tonight.
Hey, Matt. What's up, man?
Got Jeremy Ruckert and Garrett Wilson on my dynasty team now. I think that's
you're in good shape. You're in good shape, brother.
All good stuff, man. Just keep holding on to him because one day it's going to pay off for you. I think that Jeremy Ruckert is going to be very, very good. So you guys are awesome. Thanks for the great. Much appreciated. Thank you, Dino.
Thank you, Dino, man. That's awesome. Thank you.
Really appreciate you being here, man. Let's see. Oh, okay. Yep, I'm on it. All right. So Sean Bennett. Why didn't JD resign Keenan Cole? I'll say I think it's because he had some good plays, obviously some big plays, but overall he just didn't get open.
Well, listen, I just think like I said, I like Keelan Cole. He's a guy. He's a decent player, but it still comes down to a numbers thing, right? You're going to pay a guy. You got to imagine Keelan Cole. He's not signing for the veteran minimum, and we paid him $5.5 million last year. So just say for shits and giggles, you got Keelan Cole back for 1 year, $4 million, right? Why? Your wide receiver room right now is, you have money invested in Corey Davis, right? And you have other very young, talented players that you spent high draft capital on that don't cost anything, right? Now's the time. So save that money. If he's going to come in, oh, I forgot Braxton Berrios also, at $5.5 million a year, $6 million a year. But if he's going to come in and be your number 5 wide receiver, why are you going to pay that money for him? If he was a true difference maker, that's one thing. But I don't think he is. I don't think and on top of it, we talked about before. I expect to see less, 3, 4, 5 wide receiver sets and a lot more 2 tight end sets on the field. I really do.
So do we think we can beat the Packers this year? I'm not expecting to. I have it as a loss.
I have it as a loss. However, I'll say this, and I talk about this with all my friends. We have to remember that this is the NFL. Any team can beat any team on any given day with any specific circumstance at hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jacksonville beat Buffalo last year. Who would have thunk? Nobody.
Nope. He thinks that he tricked us. So stupid. I have it as we could beat anybody on any given day, but it's a loss because they're one of the teams that didn't lose their quarterback, and even though they might not have the receivers they had, I still have them as a tremendous threat in the NFC. One of the teams that could easily come out and make the Super Bowl. Like they're going to be one of those final top 3 in the NFC, right there with the Niners and with the Rams. You know, it's Tampa, the Niners, the Rams, Green Bay. Still, I don't see any major changes in the NFC based on the offseason. I think it's those 4 teams. You might see Dallas slip in there. You just might see the Cowboys slip in there and make an argument that they could be the team that's going to dominate the NFC. It could definitely happen. They definitely showed that ability last year at times. They were just inconsistent. As much as I hate to say it, nobody's a Dallas fan, but just being honest, there was some games where they looked like they really put it together and they looked like a big threat.
Yeah, they're undergoing some changes too, as are the Packers. You know, no more Devontae Adams. You know,
Yeah.
Cowboys their wide receiver rooms will look completely different. You know, a lot more pressure on Dak Prescott. A lot more pressure on an aging Ezekiel Elliott. So,
yeah. So it looks like, wow, we're late. I didn't realize time really flew, didn't it?
Yeah, it's about time.
So let's wrap it up and say goodnight. Thanks, Dom C. Amazing takes, analysis, great way to answer all the questions. Talking with Tigo, I saw you there before. Thanks for coming on, my friend. Good to see you. Thanks, Matt Smith. Thanks for everyone in the chat. Cameron Trammell, Jets Fan United, you're my guy. GVH, L. David Etchery. I said that name wrong. Sean Bennett, Dino, Nathan, Cameron, Jennifer, just all of you. Ruggs, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Sean McTeer. Man, I say everybody's name wrong. I love it. Tin Star. Just going back and looking for some names of the people who kept the show going. Chris Bradigan, thank you so much. All of you guys, man, thank you for making it a great show. Jets Mess always here. Big supporter, OG. Original man. From New Zealand, our boy Braden from New Zealand. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. And I hope everyone has a great week. And we will see you on Wednesday. Wacky Wednesday. Wacky Wednesday is the next time we'll be on live. So we'll see you then. And we'll be halfway through the week and we'll be celebrating that. So I only got 2 weeks left of the school year. So I'm really excited to get through these new 2 weeks. But take care, everybody. I'll leave you with this. Don't not be Thibodeau. And here it comes. It's about to come in. Oh, my God. They didn't. They took Sauce Gardner. Oh, my God. They don't want an edge. Maybe he likes Jermaine Johnson at 10. Then we're not going to get a wide receiver? Garrett Wilson, wide receiver. Oh, my God. No edge. The Jets traded up. Are we taking JJ? Because I know Braden is in New Zealand saying, we should get Young, Mike. He's definitely saying that. JJ! We got Johnson! At 26! This is great! Yes! They took Roger McCreary. They didn't take Dean. We traded up. We can get Jacoby Dean. It really is. They took Breece Hall. Wow. I mean, look, I love Breece Hall. But there's also Jeremy Ruckert, who I think is the best tight end in the class personally. They took Jeremy Ruckert. Yes! We got a Jeremy. Oh, and the Jets pick, and it's Max Mitchell, offensive tackle. We needed that. That's wow. We took Michael Clemens. I never heard of him. A defensive edge